Hi, welcome back to CS170. I've been asked to do a quick little demo about global versus local variables. So I decided to set something up really quick to demonstrate this. So notice what I've done here on the left. And this is why I ask people to do stuff. Either you can do document write, or you can use alerts to pop up boxes, but document write kind of shows it on the right, so it's a little bit easier, where you just basically each step of the way, you print out the variable, right? So in this case, in the case where you might call this a global variable, I just declared at the top variable 1 equals to hello, variable 2 equals to 5, okay? And then I just do a display here. Variable 1 is, variable 2 is, right? Variable 1 and 2, okay? And then really going to where the local section would be is generally inside something like a function, right? So in this case, I stuck it inside this random show random number function, which I call from this button, okay? So I guess for this video, what I'm actually also highlighting is how to do function and how to do the button with the on-click event to call that function for JavaScript. Okay, so this actually covers a lot of different things from an example standpoint. Now notice carefully what I've done here. I went into this function, I declared another variable 2. This time I set it to be 10. Okay, so even though you have the same name variable, you have variable 2 here, variable 2 here, from a computer standpoint, these are two different variables, okay? And this variable 2 only exists in the time that you're running within this function. Once you exit out this function, this variable no longer exists, okay? So that's why I put the document right in here to say what is variable 1 and variable 2 here, okay? And I did that because on variable 1, I didn't declare that here. And what that should show me is here, this variable 1 and hello. So all this is saying is that within the function, you can see all of the global variables. You can write to those global variables, right? But if within that function, you declared, let's say in this case, variable 2, then within the life of that function, that's the value that you're playing around with. You are not touching this variable 2 that's up in global here. Okay, so let's run this and see what happens. Okay, so first I ran it. You can see right away this part here, variable 1 is hello, and variable 2 is 5, which is what you expect, right? Because that's what we did here, and it did this writing here. Now I'm going to hit this button, which will call this part down here with this on click. So I run it, it came up with a random number, and then let's see what it writes out. See, it writes out, this part writes out the hello because it's using this variable. And then on variable 2, notice what it wrote. It wrote 10, right? Because it's using this variable 2, not that variable 2. Okay, so hopefully this illustrates more clearly what is the difference between the global and local variable in terms of what they call, this is what people refer to as variable scoping. Okay, so if someone asks you to trace a variable and show what its output is, if you have access to the code, you can do what I just did here. Just keep on writing them all out at each step of the way, and you can see how the values change, right, depending on where you're at. When you do this for the exam, right, you're just going to have to keep track of all of these and understand what happens outside of the function, what happens inside of the function. Okay, so hopefully this makes things clearer for you on global versus local variables.